Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's WrestleMania 29 weekend, and the lovely, talented Jersey kid, AJ, is here. How are you?
I am very good. How are you?
Get closer. You know what? That's why I need headphones. 'Cause I'm not going to hear if you're being loud enough.
All right, I'll repeat that. I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. This is your second WrestleMania?
This is. I mean, technically, it feels like my first because the last one was 18 seconds.
It was an important 18 seconds, though.
It was, and it was the beginning of my Black Widow reign. But I didn't get to soak it in or really remember it. I have like foggy memories of it. So hopefully this lasts a little bit longer. 20 seconds, I'll take. But hopefully it's a lot longer than that.
I've had cool moments happen in my life, and they can be overwhelming and fast. But that particular moment must feel crazy because even as a fan, I've been to now 4 out of the last 5 or something incredibly dorky like that. And the moment, even as a fan, feels very big. So I kind of can't even envision that feeling of coming down the ramp.
Yeah.
In that situation, especially because you grew up a wrestling fan.
Yeah, and and that's maybe the best compliment I ever get is when fans can tell me that they can tell I'm a fan. Because they kind of see it, that I'm sort of just, being a big kid when I'm out there sometimes, and especially WrestleMania last year. It's really funny if you watch it. You just kind of see me with this giant smile, like looking at everyone and like not really paying attention to what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was just a big kid that was like, oh my gosh, I made it. I actually made it here. And to do that again this year, hopefully it's a little bit longer, who knows. But and it's in New Jersey, makes it just a million times more special.
Now, I will say, first of all, you're from Union City. Is 20 minutes from where we're at?
Yeah, 20, maybe a little less than that.
Less than that?
Yeah.
You didn't grow up listening to Hot 97? You're not a hip-hop kid at all, huh?
I'm not particularly a hip-hop kid, but it was in my house a lot. My mom is.
Your mom is.
My mom was big into Hot 97, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
How old's your mom?
My mom is like 48. She's young.
Oh, she's young
yeah,
and cool.
Yeah, she's the young pretty mom. She would bring me to school, and I had teachers be like, girls, get to class. And I'm like, it's my mom.
Oh, my God. I wonder if your mom listens to me now. Does she still live here?
No, she lives in Puerto Rico now, but she would if she was here, I promise.
I'd like to think that she would. Why does she live in Puerto Rico?
That's just where they live with some family now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice. So you take vacations to Puerto Rico to visit family?
If I see them, yeah, it's kind of like a fancy vacation. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I want to give you credit for something. And I'm not saying it's intentional because I think it's sincere. But your image, you kind of alluded to that you said people can tell that you're a real fan. But it's also like your image outside of your character is really awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I'm saying it's sincere, but I'm sure also that you're aware of how people see you. But you seem like a tomboy who happens to be really pretty, but is really into wrestling. And kind of like a geek, and now you have like you're the geek's dream girl too. You have an awesome sort of positioning. You know what I'm saying? In other words,
I appreciate it.
If you need a Jewish new manager, lawyer, we could make some things happen.
Sounds good. It's good to have options. Thank you. And you know what? It's funny because it could not be more genuine, and it was it could not have been. I could not have been advised against it more. It was something that.
Which part of it?
All of it. It was very much, there's a formula and there is a model that works, and it's like, why go outside of that? And so if you watch like the first episode of NXT, I'm like, okay, let's do it. I'll do the formula. And then very slowly over time, I was like, okay, let me sneak my Converse in here, or let me sneak this, skull t-shirt. And then there was a point where I was like, I'm just going to apologize if this doesn't work, but hey, I'm a tomboy. Like, let's see how people react to that. And there was like the promo on NXT, and the crowd's like, yeah, and it was like, oh, this works. Okay, do it. And I've slowly gotten a chance to do that over time, and everything just kind of worked out that way. And to me, like, the fans have connected to me because I'm not putting on a front. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. And that's okay. It's okay to be a tomboy chick. Like, you can still succeed.
Wait, so are you saying there's not going to be that WrestleMania Playboy issue with AJ? They're not going to get that?
Oh, my God. Maybe even hell freezes.
Okay, all right. That's when you really start getting trotted out a lot.
Yeah,
Once that Playboy issue drops.
Oh, my God. I can barely wear, like, a V-neck without being uncomfortable. Like,
you wear shorts.
That.
You wear fairly short shorts.
Yeah, but that's, like, on television.
Yeah, not in real life.
Yeah, like, it's this or sweats or, like, it's very hard for me to.
So first of all, are you dating anyone?
I'm with Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, I knew that. Damn it. Oh,
look, I even drew you this beautiful picture.
I know. I forgot about that. But I am curious about whether dudes, if you've opened the door now for the geeky wrestling fan to be like, she's a regular girl. I've got a chance. I feel like the door has been cracked open, and you like.
I hope they I mean, who knows if me and Dolph will be together forever.
I mean, who knows?
But to me, that's what I want. I want people to be cool and comfortable with me and know that I'm one of them, and I just happen to sneak in here and nobody's noticed yet and kicked me out.
And I know you're going to be sweet and give the real answer right now, but that attitude still has to lead to some awkward moments. I watch it with the male guys, the male superstars, so I know for you there have to be moments because you're nice and you're comfortable when you present this character where there's just has to be, you're just like, ooh, this is... Isn't there someone who's supposed to, the same way you were trying to avoid me getting over to interview, even worse than that?
I was trying to get over here.
I know, you did.
You know what? The only time it gets weird is the other day, a kid asked me to his prom, and I was like, I can get arrested for that. So I have to say no.
But you responded.
I did respond.
That's pretty nice.
It's funny. I've got a lot of proposals, especially around when it was proposal season for me, and I was proposing people.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Me. So they've got a lot of that in real life.
So I do have to ask you one semi-tough question.
Okay.
Okay, because you obviously are a good person and morally sound and about yourself and confident, yada yada. Yet your character over the last year has done its thing. She has.
When your voice gets higher, that's when you know
that something bad happened.
Yeah.
Well, I added it up recently because at first I was like, okay, and then I was like, shoot. She has been. What is going on with AJ?
Oh my gosh.
So how do you? But do you morally have any issue with that, or do you see it totally separate and don't think that it affects the way people, like younger women, see you or anything like that, or how do you?
Definitely think it's separate, and then the fact that I still have girls coming up to me in autograph signings, and they're young and they relate to the good aspects of it, and they relate to just me being the only chick that can kind of stand on her own and keep the guys in check, I think is the element I want to get across. I think it's also just me making up for just never getting a date until I was 22. So
Sad.
It's pretty sad. It's real life though. And
you didn't have a real date till you were 22.
I think the first date I ever went on was 21. So isn't that depressing?
But everyone always says that, but you don't mean it. You hung out with boys before. You just didn't go on dates.
I literally never had a boyfriend until I was 21.
Okay. But let's clarify
I never went on a date. I never kissed a boy. Nothing.
Hold on. You're saying you didn't. This is where the question is. You didn't kiss a boy till you were 21 years old?
I have made this public knowledge on Twitter.
21.
Yes.
You've said that before.
Yeah. Isn't that sad?
Let me put it this way. I was 14, and I was on the verge of suicide. I was like, oh, I'm such a loser. And what's going on around me? You waited 7 years beyond that.
You know what? I was a good kid. And it just was focused on school and stuff. So
oh my God.
Isn't that hilarious and sad? So I have time to make up for is the thing, basically. So I'm just trying to,
But that really does position, yeah. Well, your character is making up for things that you didn't get to do. But it really does put you in an awesome position as far as the role you can play for women, which is pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, I'm having such a good time, and I think what we get to do is pretty funny, and I can see the humor in it, and also I can see it in the positive light of a girl that's take charge, and yeah, that's part of it. But there also hasn't been a woman who has kind of beat up guys before, and I don't know if that's ever happened, and so I
hold
look
on,
at that.
Hold on now.
Besides China.
No. In closer to your current role,
right.
I was talking about her earlier. The great sensational Sherry used to beat some dudes' asses.
I loved her.
No.
So much.
I told my wife the other day. I was like, honey, come in here. She was like, I'm not watching. I was like, honey, I just want you to watch this woman, sensational Sherry, for a minute and see how awesome she is.
Yep.
She had so much heat that it seemed like guys could fight her because she would beat their ass so much that if a guy attacked Sherry, you didn't even think it looked crazy because you're like, she deserves it. And she'll be fine.
She'll take care of herself.
Right. She has something in her purse. Is someone? Do you look up to people like Sherry?
I definitely do, and I. For the longest time, the contradiction of Sherry to Miss Elizabeth was something that I was like, if I can be both sides of the coin and be that person, that's gonna be really cool. And I feel like I've kind of tried to do that.
Now I understand why geeky men fall in love with you. Just hearing a woman compare, I've literally had that same thought. I'm like, God, it's amazing. Macho Man worked with Elizabeth and then Sherry.
Yeah.
They're polar opposites,
yeah,
and yet it worked.
To me,
they both
I was
worked.
like, let me be both of them at the same time, and kind of mix in a lot of different elements. But I that's cool to me. It's it just depends on what how you treat me. That's the girl you get.
Can I tell you something? I'm going to tell you one thing that bothers me. And this is not remotely your fault. And I don't even know whose fault this is. I don't even know.
I'll complain to them for you.
I'm not blaming WWE necessarily either, though it is partially WWE's fault, but fans' fault as well. At one point, I believe you were the hottest superstar in the company. I think I was at the show, whichever the pay-per-view was, when everyone was waiting for your entrance. It was in New York. Which pay-per-view was that, Ernie? When we were waiting, we spent the whole pay-per-view watching the ramp to see when you were going to come interrupt the match.
No Way Out? Maybe? Was that in Jersey?
It was in Jersey or New York. It was like 9 months ago.
Maybe
whenever it
No
was.
Way Out.
And I remember the whole...
It was here, no?
Yeah, it was here.
It was in this building? God, this is an interesting building.
Yeah, very special to me.
Very special building. And the whole crowd was not watching the match. We were all watching the ramp to see when you were going to show up. And I remember thinking, I was like, man, she's like the most over person in the company. But then at the same time, what drives me crazy is you're that hot as a manager character, but then you would go out and have a singles match, and I would get frustrated with the crowd participation. I'm like, the crowd's willing to be excited for her to see her come out and interrupt the dude's match, but when you'd have a match with another good diva, I felt like the interest wasn't there, and I would imagine that would get a little frustrating.
And that's like the interesting thing is if you look at the divas, the Trish Lita era, they were such well-rounded characters, and that people got behind them because they were involved in all this kind of scandal and drama, and so you got to know them and love them or hate them for who they were, and then they'd get in the ring, and then you could pick a side because you believed in one of them. You really truly did, and that is something that like we might be missing in some ways now, and so when now people are like, when are you gonna get back in the ring, blah blah, say stuff like that. To me, it's like, give it time. Like, let people get to know me and hate me or love me.
But then we also need to get to know and love and hate someone else.
Exactly.
It can't just be you.
That's exactly it. Like, I can't do it on my own. So if we can get, like, we've spent a year on me, so like let's take a step back and maybe we get somebody else in the spotlight, and then and then the two of us can go and do something. And I feel like we're close to something like that with Caitlyn because people have gotten to see her as an underdog for so long. But like that needs to be kind of developed, and now you have two people they care about, and now let's get together and get in the ring, and I think people will care. And that's kind of the magic that was the golden era of divas, back in the Attitude Era. And if we can get that again, I think we're close. We have all the right pieces. We just need to kind of figure out the formula and get there again.
Who are your top 3 to 5, your choice, females in the history of the wrestling business?
Oh my gosh, that's so difficult.
Don't worry, I'm just going back like the last 60 or 70 years.
Right. You know what? I can't even.
You don't have to number them. Just name a few at least, or that means something to you.
I don't. Just personally, because I'm sure there are people who be like, this one's more important than this one. But for me, who, if I ever had to like, just putting everything together and kind of taking pieces from people and seeing what worked and saying I'm gonna try that and put my own spin on it. The people I've gone to have been Sherry, Miss Elizabeth, Stephanie, who I'm obsessed with to this day, and I kind of just steal bits of her hair every time I hug her, and Trish and Lita, and oh gosh, Molly. I can't even pick a top 5 because Molly was just my be all and end all as well. So probably those 6, I think, have. If you were to mix them into one person, would be just the perfect diva, and I'm trying, but trying to be the first me as well, and hopefully one day I'm on someone's list.
I think you're on your way, kiddo.
I hope.
I think you might be all right. Well, listen, WrestleMania is Sunday, in case you didn't know.
Oh yes.
And you're going to be involved in a tag title match.
Yes, my wonderful family of Ziggy, Biggie, and I'm Baby.
Ziggy, Biggie, and Baby. Oh.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler and B. Langston in his first match ever is WrestleMania. Pretty big deal for him. I don't know how you pulled that off.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and they're going to be this amazing tag team, and we work together so well, and we're this unit, and we've been working so hard for a couple months to get this opportunity, and our goal is to steal a show, and we are going to, and we're going to steal the tag team title.
What you need to do is steal a win. You need to get this win on Sunday. All right?
We really do, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we do.
You haven't gotten to manage a tag team champs yet. That could be fun. That's
I know.
another.
I have to say that I'm like I bring people to gold. I have to get there.
No, and like so many greats have done that too. Lita, like that's a role that people play as well. That's pretty fun.
I would love to. So far, I've only led people to lose their gold and stuff. So okay, I'm a little bit of a Black Widow, but I'm going to try to turn that around this Sunday.
All right, and by the way, pretty cool that you work with Dolph, who is definitely one of the greatest performers on the planet right now.
He is amazing. I was such a fan of his before we even got together, and people would ask me, "What is the match you're looking most forward to on the show?" And I would always say his.
Do you want to know the thing that made me like a stan for Dolph Ziggler?
What?
This is so little and random. The way that he slides onto the apron. I don't know if you notice it.
Yeah.
But there are times when he does it. I was in person once and I noticed it, and he slid like 8 feet. It was like literally slid on the entire side of the ring. And I was like, yo, that guy's crazy.
It's a skill.
He's a talented man. All right, AJ, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Jersey.